So as some of you may or may not know, the weekly D&D livestream show Critical Role launched a Kickstarter to create an animated special based on the characters from their first campaign, which ran from 2015 to 2017. The initial goal for the project was $750,000 for a 22-minute animated special. Now, $750,000 is a lot of money, but within the first 45 minutes, they hit their initially planned goal. Within 1 hour, they hit 1 million, and then within 8 hours, they hit 3 million, thus hitting all of their initially planned goals. So the Critical Role team had to scramble and come up with a new set of stretch goals, those being 5.75 million, 7.5 million, and 8.8 million. And last Thursday night, the Kickstarter hit that final goal of $8.8 million, thanks to #CritterPush to make sure that the goal was hit while they were live streaming. Just for some context, at the start of April 4th, 2019, the Kickstarter was at $8,542,770. And by the end of the day, the Kickstarter was at $8,809,193. Meaning that within 24 hours, the Critter community pulled together and raised $266,423, which is the most amount of money raised in a single day since March 8th, which was the 5th day of the Kickstarter. And a majority of that money raised was within the last few hours to make sure that the goal was hit while Critical Role was live. Just on a personal level, I have never been so proud to be a part of a community or fandom, and I am constantly blown away by the Critter community. And, oh yeah, by the way, there's still 10 days left for this Kickstarter. But because of all the love and support, the originally planned 22-minute animated special has now morphed into an animated series. So we have 2 episodes that will be 22 minutes long that will be a brand new adventure with the characters of Vox Machina from the first campaign. And additionally, we'll have 8 22-minute episodes for the fan favorite Briarwood arc from campaign 1. Based on what Matt said Thursday night and also the Kickstarter update page, there don't appear to be any more stretch goals in the works, so any money that is raised now beyond this 8.8 million will just go to increasing the animation quality, making this the best show possible. And I know that there are some people who are a little bit wary of backing this project because they didn't think the animation quality looked all that great. But keep in mind that the teaser trailer that launched with the Kickstarter was not on a budget of $9 million and counting, so I think you can rest assured that when all is said and done, with the budget that they have now, the animation is going to look absolutely gorgeous. Simply put, this Kickstarter has exceeded everyone's expectations, probably the cast most of all.
Okay.
But seeing this community come together has been an absolute joy to watch, and I'd be lying if I said I didn't keep that Kickstarter page open just to see the number climb up every single day. But to get to the point of this video, why is Critical Role's Kickstarter such a big deal? First and foremost, they have raised a lot of money in only a few days. So much money that it has gotten the attention of several news outlets, including IGN, CNET, Variety, Fortune, and CNBC, among others. So the fact that this has made news is already pretty incredible, and with good reason. Like I just said, the Kickstarter has raised a lot of money so far, but when I say a lot, I mean like record-breaking a lot. In just 2 weeks, Critical Role's Kickstarter already became the most funded film and video project ever on Kickstarter. And as of this video, the Kickstarter is the 7th most funded project ever. While the money is an easy thing to focus on, the impact of Critical Role's Kickstarter goes much deeper. At the end of the day, it shows people's love for tabletop gaming, non-traditional storytelling in media, and animation. And with such huge success so far, I can definitely see Kickstarter becoming a more prominent platform for creating and funding animation. Now, the Critical Role animated special was not originally planned to be funded via Kickstarter. If you watch the campaign video or read the campaign description on the Kickstarter page, you'll see that they had several meetings with Hollywood companies and pitched the idea of creating this animated special based on their live stream. and they had the proposed budget of the original goal of the $750,000. And as TV scientist and Critical Role cast member Ashley Johnson puts it,
"Hey guys, I'm sorry to interject, but I've been crunching some numbers here. 1 minute of TV quality animation costs between $30,000 to $50,000, and our budget, $750,000, is way more than any media company wanted to take a chance on, especially since our show is about a fantasy adventuring group named Vox Machina. You know, based off of a game."
While there was some interest in it, the budget was deemed too high, and there was also the general lack of knowledge and confusion about Critical Role and Dungeons & Dragons, and ultimately no one would take a chance on creating this animated special, so the Critical Role team ended up turning to crowdfunding, and well, you know how that's going. In an article by Variety, cast member Travis Willingham mentioned how since the campaign launched, he has actually heard back from some of the people he and the team had met with. Since the campaign blew up, a few of the would-be buyers have checked in with Willingham, who said it's possible Vox Machina could land a deal with a TV or streaming outlet. "We're interested in seeing who might be able to offer us distribution avenues," he said. "We're waiting to see what happens in the next 40 days. And this is what I want to talk about. Hollywood companies did not see the potential in an animated special of Critical Role. For one, Critical Role is not your typical show. It is improvised each week, yet it's narrative-driven, and these two things just don't go together in traditional TV media. Either you have a narrative show that's scripted, or you have a show that's improvised, and that often falls into the category of live TV. And from the Kickstarter Q&A video, it definitely did not seem from these meetings the Hollywood companies had any idea of how to turn Critical Role into an animated special.
Sometimes we were met with excitement. People were saying, like, "Oh man, this is amazing. It's such a big audience for D&D. Is it a podcast?" And we were like, "No, I mean, it is available in a podcast form, yes, but it's a live stream on Twitch." And sometimes we got the Twitch.
Yeah.
And we were like, "No, it's a thing. It's a real thing." And they were like, "Great, it's an improvised show?" And we were like, yes, the live stream is." And they were like, "So the cartoon will be improvised?" And we were like, No, gonna have a script that we will read and record."
Basically, Critical Role is a show that Hollywood has not dealt with before, and in the TV and film industry, Hollywood is going to back and fund whatever will make it the most money. And often that means following popular trends, and unfortunately, Critical Role in their eyes probably doesn't follow those popular trends. But outside of the structure of Critical Role as a show, there's also the fact that this animated special would be based off of Dungeons and Dragons, which again probably wouldn't fall into the popular mainstream trends that Hollywood is looking for. While the cast made it clear that they wouldn't be showing dice rolls or using the technical mechanics of the game, Hollywood still seemed wary of the possible complexities of funding and backing an animation that is based off something as rule-heavy, vast, and variable as Dungeons and Dragons. However, these episodes are going to be scripted, so that shouldn't be a problem, which goes back to my point about Hollywood wanting to go with what it already knows than taking a chance on something new and different. Additionally, if you look at Critical Role from a story and character perspective, it doesn't really fall into your typical adult cartoon. I think if you asked anyone some examples of adult cartoons, you would get responses like Family Guy, Rick and Morty, and South Park, all of which are considered to be animated sitcoms. When it comes to Western adult animation, it tends to lean towards being comedic, usually based around dysfunctional families, sex, alcohol, drugs, and offensive humor. Yet, when you look at animated shows that are intended for a general audience, you have shows like Avatar: The Last Airbender, The Legend of Korra, Teen Titans, Gravity Falls, Star vs. The Forces of Evil, and Steven Universe, all of which are more narratively driven. I find it interesting when we think of adult animation, it usually goes towards comedy, when animation in itself is very limitless in terms of what you can portray and show on a screen. I feel this falls back on the idea that cartoons are for kids, and in order for a cartoon to seem less childish, they throw in things like sex, drugs, and alcohol to make the cartoon seem more adult. I still find Avatar: The Last Airbender to be one of the most well-written shows and one of the most mature shows out there, and I think something we need to keep in mind is just because you have adult concepts and humor in it doesn't make the show mature. But getting back to the point of limitless potential of animation. In general audience animation, the narratives are usually built around these new fascinating worlds that are different from our own. Thus, the animation itself is truly pushed to its fullest potential to show these new worlds with vast landscapes and unique creatures, and to show action-packed fight sequences. And when thinking about Critical Role as an animated show, I definitely see it falling into a more mature Avatar: The Last Airbender or Legend of Korra. While Critical Role definitely has its funny moments, and believe me, there are a lot of them, the show is ultimately focused on character interaction and development, adventure, and the overall narrative. And these are things that other adult animated shows don't really focus on. Thus, in the eyes of Hollywood, an animated Critical Role special would be seen as a risk, because they are not checking off those boxes that they look for when looking to make an animated series that is geared towards adults. But this is why the success of the Critical Role Kickstarter is all the more impactful, and why the Hollywood companies who initially snubbed Critical Role coming back after seeing the success of the Kickstarter is all the more satisfying. Having been met with confusion and lack of confidence, the cast and crew decided to go to crowdfunding. And within the first 45 minutes, they hit their goal, showing corporate Hollywood that there is an interest in an animated Critical Role special. And not only that, but the funding that this Kickstarter received is from people who genuinely love, watch, and support the show. And it's going to be an amazing feeling when all is said and done, watching this animated special come to fruition with the knowledge that it happened because of the community coming together to make it happen. Which brings me to the point of animation in general and how Critical Role's Kickstarter shows a desire and interest in animation. Now, previous to Critical Role's Kickstarter campaign, the top animation projects were as follows: Little Witch Academia 2, The Cyanide and Happiness Show, Bee and Puppy Cat the Series, Under the Dog, and Nekopara Anime OVA. And then Critical Role came in there and reached the top spot in under an hour. Now, the thing about animation, TV, and film projects on Kickstarter is that they are considerably more expensive. If you look at the goals for some of the other projects under the TV and film category, you will see that they are considerably higher than most of the other projects that you find on there. And the reason being is because filmmaking is a very involved and cooperative process. Or, as Ashley puts it,
we need you to help fund animators, background artists, character designers, sound and picture editors, storyboarders, music, special effects, and the writing and recording process for 18 months of production.
If you've ever stayed for the credits of an animated film, then you'll see how many people are really involved. And you need people who specialize in different things, and this just isn't for animation, this is just for filmmaking in general. You need writers and editors, people who do music, etc. All of them are needed on the production team in order to make a film happen. But when it comes to animation, you have the animators where every character, every movement you see on the screen is done by hand, and that takes a long time to do. Despite having typically higher goals on Kickstarter, animation projects still get funded. And I feel a large part of this is because of the passion that the project creators have. And it was even said last Thursday night when they hit their $8.8 million stretch goal, Liam O'Brien said, "Has there ever been a bigger passion project?" And I think that's something that makes Kickstarter all the more special. You have the project creators who are passionate and excited to tell their story, and then you have the supporters who are just as passionate as they are and excited to hear their story. And now with Critical Role's success on Kickstarter breaking records, I feel that independent animators will see now more than ever that there is a potential for crowdfunding on Kickstarter. If I've learned anything the past few weeks of watching Critical Role's Kickstarter is that if there are passionate project creators out there, people who share that passion, and people who are just willing to bring something new and different, then I feel that Critical Role is only the start of what is to come for the future of animation. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you would like to support Critical Role's Kickstarter, I will leave a link to it in the description box below. As of me recording this video, there are 10 days left. I don't know when I'm going to be getting this video out there, but there should still be some time left if you would like to support it. It's a great project. If you haven't, check out Critical Role just in general. It's a really great show. But yeah, if you'd like to see some of my other Critical Role content, I will leave it somewhere over here. Here, maybe here. Click somewhere around here for some other Critical Role content that I have made, or just check out my channel in general if you would like, if this is your first video. But again, thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a fantastic day, guys. Take care.